Hello, welcome back, and thanks for joining me. It's Judy from Thistledew Creations, and today I am decorating an envelope for Happy Mail. And this is a reused envelope that I received from Lauralie Shop with a shabby chic swap in it, probably several months ago. And now I'm getting some Happy Mail ready for Happy Mail Canada Facebook group for Sarah Finley, and she asked for fall colors. That's all she said, fall colors. So I've got a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to try to decorate the envelope in fall colors as well. So I started off by covering Lauralie's address, and then I'm going to find me some music paper, and I've got some really good dark music paper that I can use. And I found my small tear ruler. It was at my dad's. So I've got that to play with today. And I think I'm going to cut this into 3 pieces, because I always like to kind of work around the middle and put a label in the middle. I don't want to waste this gorgeous paper underneath another label. So I'll put this here. And often when I do these, I don't necessarily use a glue book, because I can just glue right on top of what I'm covering. And I do use the glue stick and the tacky glue around the edges and through the middle. Just a little through the middle, just so that I can, if I set it down in the wrong spot, I have a little bit of wiggle room. And I don't bring pick the pages, the pieces of paper, right to the edge of the envelope, because those, when they come right to the edge, they tend to lift up easier if they're hanging on off the edge. So I just leave a tiny little reveal there. And then I don't know if I'll get using both of those or not, so I'll just set them aside there. And see what I've got in my map drawer. I've got a piece of Cowboy Chronicler. That can go here. I just reached in and grabbed something. I just saw the color. Trying to not overthink, especially for these envelopes. They always turn out fine, whether I think about it too much or not. Because what you're doing as the background here is more like the masterboard concept, where you're just creating a background, and then you're going to put more stuff in front. It's just a little crooked, but I'm not going to worry about it. And then I have some actual map. Yeah, I'll use some actual map here too. Still kind of in fall colors, not too bright. Some of the maps that I have are so pretty. They're pinks and mauves and mint green and yellow. But right now I'm looking for something a little more autumnal. This one kind of fits that bill. It's got a dull white background, the dark green border, and it's mostly white with a little bit of gray. And then I thought I would look in my little file box. I've got an autumn bag in here that I can pick some stuff out of. And I also have colors, browns and tans. That are just out of magazines mostly. So I could do that. It's a little bit of glitz. This is where my stamps are going to be, so I'll put like a piece of plain paper there. Actually, I could put this brown up in the corner. When I get magazines at work, like industry catalogs and magazines, I salvage them for there's not very many good fussy cuts. You get the odd thing that's suitable, but there's a lot of good ads where it's mostly just blank space with a color. So I always save those pieces for this kind of thing. So that's where my stamps will go. And right now we have some really cool mushroom stamps in Canada. So I'll probably use those if I can. Depends what the postage works out to. But I always try to use stamps regardless. I do like this piece, so I'm going to use it. So I try not to go off the edge with the glue stick, just so that it doesn't get quite so messy on the item that I'm gluing on. And then the white glue goes just real close to the edge so that it squeezes out just right to the edge. It doesn't even matter on this if it squeezes out beyond the edge, because I'll just let it dry. Not so worried about the texture of the paper. It's going to get beat up pretty good on the way to her, so no sense in fussing about it. And then I've got a couple of more small spots here. This will work here. This'll do. And then down here I need something a little wider. Maybe I'll use another one of these. This is out of one of these really small botanical books. I'll save the purple one for a more summery project. And yellow flowered one will be good for here. And I think I'm gonna put it, actually I could put it this way, because then my label can be over here and I'll use another little piece up here. I love these little books. The borders are small enough in them that you don't really need to tear them off. They make great little journaling cards. I'd like to find one and just use the whole thing to make up to journaling cards. Move this up and over as far as I can. And then I'll put a little piece of, another little piece of brown down here. So the rest of these browns and tans can go back in the envelope. And the book pages can go back in my book page drawer. I do need to find something for the label. And I think what I'll use for the label is this sunflower paper that I have. It's in my fall box. It was autumn, sunflower, and Halloween, but I had to put Halloween in a separate box because I had ended up having too much. But this is paper that I salvaged out of a photo album. I'll show you what the pages look like. So it had room for 3 photos in each page with this clear plastic kind of melted in between in these holes. So I just bought, it was an Ann Getty's photo album, and I just took it apart completely and salvaged the pages. because of the sunflower paper. And I think I've got one here that's big enough to use as a label. If not, I'll cut one. What have I done here? I played with it and made a whole bunch of different things, but there's a piece that's almost big enough. I made different little fold thingies with it and tags. I've shared a lot in Happy Mail already, but I'll have to make up some fall Happy Mail packets. All my Happy Mail is sort of very pretty. It's not all that suitable for fall theme. This will cover here, and then that will go there. And I didn't ink anything this morning. I just laid it down. What I might want to do is just ink this main label. I'm going to use the ground espresso so that it really shows up better than vintage photo would anyway. So this is where I will write her address and what it's for. It's important to write what it's for if you care about being thanked in the proper group. Some people don't, and that's fine. So this was Happy Mail Canada Weekly Wishes. Sandra Finley. I'll put her address on later. But doing this, I won't forget what this was for, which is important if you're doing a bunch of them. Usually address them right away. And then take a picture right away, send it to the person, post it in the group if you're supposed to. Now, if it's a random act of kindness, I don't send it to the person. But if it's something from a group or a swap that we've arranged, I always make sure that they know I did it, I've got it packed up, and it's ready to go to the mailbox. And then I put it right with my purse, or sometimes I have a tote bag ready to fill. Because I have this kind of Happy Mail, and then I have my Etsy orders as well that I usually have at least a couple a week going out. So I usually have a tote bag if it's more than just one or two things. So there, that's our front of the envelope. And I don't always do the back. I'll have to take a look and see what the back has on it. Before I mail it, I will go around and make sure all the edges and corners are glued down tight. So there's not much on the back of this one. I think I'll leave it plain, and that way Sandra can play with it some more. She can add to what I've done, put a new label on, or she can just use this as a masterboard. If she doesn't want to send this big of a package in Happy Mail, or if she doesn't have anything this big to send, she can just use this as a masterboard and make some tags or journaling spots with it. But this just had, I hope this makes you smile, so that doesn't need to be changed. And then I'll put my own address on this flap. Sometimes I reinforce that with some paper. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do that. It looks pretty solid up here. It's just a little bit fragile right at the edge, but I may just put stickers across there or something. So let's decorate it a little bit and then we'll fill it. So I got these, I just did a video where I showed these. These came from Linda Styles. Now these I'm going to have to really think about because they're going to be difficult to glue down, not impossible. I suppose if I do a nice glob of glue here, right where they're going to go, and then put some tacky glue on some of the spots that have a little meat and on the tips. Set that down in the glue stick. Don't have a chance to move this around. I love intricate things like this, but they are harder to glue down. So I'm going to just let that dry while we're doing the rest, and then I'll go back and check all the little edges, because that glue stick isn't the greatest for that kind of thing. I'm going to also use some of Linda's flowers because they're just awesome and they're the right colors. And all of my flowers are like pink and purple. I have a few yellow flowers, but they have little pearls on them, so they're not really suitable for the front of Happy Mail. Too bumpy. And I had 2 of these, so I think I want to cluster them together. I think they look cute like that. And then I've been fussy cutting, well, not really fussy cutting. I cut out some printables that are fall themed, and some of them are quite small, so I thought I'd use some of those. And then I got a couple bees and sunflowers that I've also fussy cut. I actually was doing these printables so that I could send this to you, Wanda. I know you'll know why. And let's see here, we've got a pine cone, just kind of a little square piece. These were like set up in a grid on the page, so I just cut them out kind of as they are. Some of them have green borders. That one looks nice there, although I'm covering up that yellow flower. I'll move it up just a bit. And these are printed on cardstock, so they're really going to firm up the front of the envelope too. This is cardstock as well. The rest was all fairly thin. I don't think it matters which way that one goes. Up, down, sideways. I might include a few of these in her package too. There's a little hedgehog or something. I like the fox with the berries. Put him down here. I don't want it lined up with that edge. That's the only thing. I don't want to cover up so much music, so maybe I'll pick a smaller one here. Some oak leaves, that's better. So you see how this is sort of turning into a master board with these extra additions on top? And it doesn't really matter so much about the background, whether it's inked, whether it's ripple edge or straight edge. It doesn't really matter when you get all this other stuff going on. There's another one for Wanda. And I like the berries, so I think I'm going to do berries again over here. I've been eating a lot of raspberries lately. fox and the bear in there for her. And another one of the pine cones. I have someone else that might like the deer. And the bird's nest with berries is cute too. So I'll put those in her package. I don't really want to cover that up or that. I could put something else here, maybe something horizontal. Let's see what I've got in my bee stuff here. This was another fussy cutting session, TV time. And I had this printed out, 2 different sizes, excuse me, on just regular photocopy paper. And I backed it with paper bag before I cut it out, so that I only had to cut it once, and that just give it a little more strength. So I think I'll put in one of these dark bee tags in her package. I'm looking for something kind of horizontal to go here, but it could just be this. That'll work. Oh, and I didn't use my other stuff here that I pulled out. You guys must look at me pulling these things out and not using them and be just yelling at me through the screen. Aren't you going to use that stuff? And I got some words here I can use. Take me to the fair. That's very autumnal. So let's see if I can ink that a bit. So it's not quite so white. And that I'll just go ahead and use the white glue on it. I usually do is like a squiggle down the middle on something like that. And then set it in place. Just move it back and forth a couple times. You're spreading the glue around. When it stops moving, it's stuck. That moves it back. And let's see what else I can use from over here. Acorns. Go right there. Happy fall, y'all. Save that for someone down south. Hello, autumn. With a red maple leaf. I think I cut this off of Happy Mail or something because it's covered in packing tape. I really like this picture. Maybe I'll use it on the flap as a closure. Okay, so let's see what we're gonna put inside. And round out our Happy Mail Monday. Cleans up my ink, my glue out of the way. So there's our envelope. And here's what we're going to put in for her fall colors. I've got this folder, which I I have several of these from a business that changed their branding style. So they didn't need these anymore. And it has one of those connectors in it where you can layer sheets of paper if you just punch 2 holes. So that's handy for making folios. And then I put a page of this photo book paper with the plastic still on, and I used the pockets to put a few little goodies in on each one. I'm going to put the pockets, the opening side of the pockets in. And then I have this sheet of Yeti wrapping paper. I work at a hardware store, and we got a shipment of Yeti drinking cups. And they each were wrapped in this paper, and the girl in the warehouse had a few sheets, only about 3 sheets in the garbage can. And I came back to check on something with her, and I went, "Oh, you can't throw that away." And she just looked at me. I said, "Well, I'll use it in many ways, but I'll use it for wrapping paper. I will cut out the images and use them for crafts, or I'll use the backside and stencil on it." So she let me have a whole big stack of them. So I was really thrilled. And I thought I would share some of that because it's kind of autumn pictures and autumn colors. Then a piece of that green map, green edged map. Some of the old music pages. These are from the front of the book, so there's not a lot of music, but it's that really nice old color. And then a coloring page that I coffee dyed, a ledger that I coffee dyed, some blue paper that I coffee dyed, and it's really fall, really dark. And then just a regular piece of coffee dyed, and some avocado dyed lined paper. And then I threw in about a foot or so of this little picket fence wallpaper border, as well as a couple of coin wrappers, a little craft paper colored pocket. I just got these recently, and I'm struggling to remember where. You might remember if you saw the video where I showed it. And I just put a few of the cutouts from my autumn folder. I don't want to put a lot because some people don't like getting like magazine cutouts, but I did have some pretty ones. And then this was some more fall flowers, stickers, a rhinestone or sequenced iron-on patch, and then a couple more journaling cards. And then I'll leave these for you to decorate, Sandra. And I'm going to put those facing this way as well so that they don't fall out the side. And then I got into my upholstery fabric samples, and I'm sending her some mustard yellow leatherette and some red and cream. Oh, it's kind of like a textured burlap-y kind of fabric. And then a nice muted green silky embossed fabric, and some more mustard yellow colors. This one is gorgeous silk. And then one that's more sturdy. And then a whole bunch of 6x6 papers in autumn colors. I didn't have a lot of them, but I gave her what I could find. Another piece of avocado dyed cardstock. And then one more of those photo pages. And again, I put in some fall thankful place card pieces and a bunch of these little journaling cards and folded up strips that she can use in her journals. Same thing on this side, some leaves and some more. Each one has another piece of this stuff in it. Plus she's got the 2 pages that she can use. Actually, that is actually a spread. So I didn't even realize I had done that. So bonus. And I'll throw these in here too. Actually, I can put these on the inside here. So I might need to get some more. I'll fill it up. We got my blue bees. We got a bear. and a fox. And I'll put 2 of each of these in each one, and then I'll find one more. Oh, I can do honey. No, I'll do another one of these dark blue ones in case she kind of likes that theme. So that's fun. It's fun to discover all the things when you open it up. And then I'll put that in like that. That protects everything and is an extra little bonus. With the cover itself, you can collage on the front and the back. And that'll all fit in this envelope, and I'll get it off to the mailbox. So that's how I do up my Happy Mail, and that's quite a big package. It's not as big as sending a small box swap, but it's quite a few things, and should be able to use them in lots of different ways. And I'm hoping to make her day when she opens this up. When she gets it out of the mailbox, I'm hoping she just goes, "Ooh, Happy Mail!" Because that's what I do. So thanks for watching. Do join in the Happy Mail craze if you haven't already. It's a lot of fun just to receive something from someone, and I enjoy sending it too. It doesn't bother me about the cost of the items at all. And the cost of the postage, you know what? I've stopped spending money on some other things, and I'm spending it on this instead. This is my hobby. So you have to kind of look at it that way. So like, comment, share, and subscribe. Most of all, have a great day and happy crafting.